What's up, church? So today we're going to move on to lesson number 2 in the series that I'm probably going to be calling Foundations of the Covenant. This is part 2 of the series, which will probably go, well, this series, it'll stay as this series until we get into the end of the books of Moses, first 5 books, Pentateuch, the Torah, because they really are kind of like encapsulated, as it were, in Scripture for a reason, because that's the covenant between God and man. Our previous video addressed that at length, and to the point that I forgot to actually address the Scripture, which is referenced in the title. We're going to hit that. So today we're going to jump right into it, and in Genesis 1:1 it says, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth." And then most people who in church are fully aware that that's there, but don't really seem, as I didn't for 30 years of my life, had no idea the implication of what that sentence was saying. So because we are looking at this as a covenant, as an agreement, what we have in Genesis 1:1 is God establishing who He is, how He has authority to even, come up with a contract, come up with an agreement, because you need authority to go into a covenant with someone. You can't, make an agreement to sell your neighbor's car. You don't have the authority to sell that car. So it's who He is, where His authority comes from, and how long He's had that authority. And so, there's a lot of information in that really short sentence. It's basically God saying, I'm God. I am over heaven and earth because I created it. And I have held that position as creator of heaven and earth and the authority that goes along with that since the beginning. So that's literally is the true foundation of the covenant, is the author giving that information to us. Now, as I check my time, oh, sorry, allergies are kind of getting to me a little bit. This is where I have a lot of people that do not agree with me, and I really don't care. I really don't care what your belief is about the origin of humanity, because none of us can prove it. And I mean, we obviously, if whatever we individually believe we have the evidence on our side. When it comes to what we're going to talk about now, this is, it is definitely subjective. And I would not have, I don't have any kind of fault with anyone who doesn't agree with me, because it would be everybody but me and 1% of the church world. The next sentence that we get in the King James Bible says, and the earth, it says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Now, I'm only going to get to literally the first 2 words of that sentence, because on that is really where the 2 paths start. And then it actually continues on as we get into the next verses. But on this today, I only want to deal with the very first half of this verse. I promise you, not every episode will be only dealing with 5 words. So what we have, well, in virtually every translation that you see, you're probably going to see the word "and the earth was without form." Now, in this version that I've been using, and this is one I've been reading out of, I actually did not realize that it was written like this until I had already bought it. My mind had been made up on this when I was still in high school, so this was not a new thing to me. But I personally appreciated that when they got to the translation of verse 2, it reads in its entirety, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, period. The earth was unformed and void, darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. Now, if you know that from King James, that is extremely close, except for the absence of the word "and." One of the reasons why you see it here and in other translations is because that word is used more than one way in more than one place. So when you're looking at translating Hebrew, unlike most languages, you have to look at how the language has been translated before to understand how it is understood. If you get on that, it sounds super confusing, I know, but if you could just get on Google Translate and go to translate an English phrase into Hebrew, it will not give you a definition. It will give you how the phrase is used for you to determine the application that you're looking for. Because in every instance, the phrasing may not be the same given the incident that you're in. I know that sounds confusing, but that's because the language is not based the way that our languages are based, and so their language is full of expressions that literally completely lose meaning once they get translated into another language. So when you have that kind of ambiguity, the PC way to go about it is to not take a side. Because there's many people throughout the centuries that believe that what we have a picture of here is that we have God creating the heaven and the earth in time past, and then 6,000 years ago on the earth, reforming the earth, because for some reason the earth is not ready to be used. The earth has been put into a form, and any time that you see water on the earth before the flood, because this is, again, he has repeated it, the flood, in my opinion, the flood of Noah was not the first flood. The first flood was the flood that happened in verse 2. Why was the earth covered in water? God created the heaven and the earth, and he spoke it into existence, but for some reason he has to fix the earth. Now, I read that, I have always read that, even in the King James, which does say, and the earth was without form, because it didn't make any sense to me. Everything else that's made in the oncoming sentences, in the oncoming scriptures here, everything that is made is good. It is perfect. When he speaks it into existence, it does not need to be modified, but the earth, even though he created it in the beginning, the earth had to be repaired. So that is something that, again, that is I consider that to each his own. Now, where I get a lot of kickback on this is because people say that, well, you're just supporting a Darwinian evolution and theistic evolution and all that, and I'm not even remotely saying anything goofy like that. I believe that the reason why that the Bible does not teach that the universe is 6,000 years old is because that it's not. The humanity on the earth, I do not have any issue whatsoever believing that humanity's time on earth is what Genesis is talking about. I do not believe that it's talking about the creation of the earth itself. If you look at what is visible with our eyes now, what you can look at and see for yourself, I believe that the universe follows the same pattern that God gave us through the very next sentences, which says, for everything that is created to be fruitful and multiply. Now, I know that right now that your head's about to explode, and I don't mean to make your head explode, but I believe that the things that are referred to in modern scientific terms as star factories are star factories. I believe there is an ongoing, in this universe, I believe there is an ongoing process that God started in place, just like seed time and harvest is here on this earth. It happens with everything that's alive on this earth. And the Bible tells us that all of nature, all of the creation sings his praise. We know for a fact that there is a frequency that is given by basically everything that is non-human, not anything not made by humans, has its own frequency. Because all of creation, all of nature sings out the evidence that there is a creator. That's what they're singing out, is the evidence of the creator. He is trying to show you in what he has made that he is there and that he is real. And so I believe, and like I said, you can believe whatever you want, and I'm never going to address this again once we get out of the next few things. And so you can just, wait till I'm past it and pick right back up. I would be perfectly fine with that. But I think it might, be smart to maybe at least, listen for a little bit. I might have a point, And plus, we all got to remember that none of us got all the answers. And if we're relying on us being perfect to make it to heaven, you have no idea what grace is, and you have no hope to make it. If you're trying to make it on your own accord, wow, just wait till we get to the New Testament. It really disagrees with the idea that you can do it on your own. What I believe today may change, because it's changed a lot over the course of my life. But like I said, the words on the page, why is it so impossible to believe? I think, and I guess my issue with all this is we cause such, we come so hard against those outside of the church, because the church world can't accept that there's even the slight possibility that the universe is more than 6,000 years old, when I can sit here with the Bible, and any reasonable person who's not waiting to make their point, but is actually listening to what I'm saying, can at least look at this and say, wow, it is a little unusual that he creates the heaven and the earth, which requires no modification. Everything except for the thing he did in the beginning. Somehow it wasn't made right, and then he had to make it right. Well, how did it get made not right if everything that he does and everything else he created was good, right, perfect? Just doesn't stack up to me. No, and I am not, like I said, I'm not in any way trying to say that I support any theory that has organic matter coming from inorganic matter. I can't support any theory that says information creates itself. That's always been my issue, is the information. A cell needs about a gigabyte worth of information to even survive, to live, and where did that information come from? So I'm not asking you to necessarily believe, honestly, I can see you not believing the Bible's explanation is how we got on earth, but I would really behoove you to investigate intelligent design at least. Because there's a lot out there that if you only take things on the surface, it's easy to believe some things. And a lot of what happens in here is because a lot of people, the understanding for a lot of belief systems is only the surface level. But once you get into the information is, what the facts are, then a lot of times that stuff falls apart. And that's true. That's been true with so many things. Well, because for the majority of my life, I just kind of towed the line. Well, it's possible that that's how it was done, but the older I get, I just have trouble with it, because I can't get past the fact that God having to fix something that he created because it wasn't ready for him to use it. That wasn't an accident. He didn't create it in an imperfect state. I believe it was created in a perfect state, became imperfect for whatever reason, and then he is taking that creation and renewing it, because that's what he does. At one time, we will remake, but for now, he is still renewing. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So, all right, guys. Let's see how I did. I have no idea, but probably too long. All right. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Like, share, and subscribe. All right. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.